welcome to another episode of FAQ Mondays. I am your host, Fluff. I felt like being on the couch today. Is that all right? I don't know. I just felt like the couch vibe was kind of appropriate. Not that you can hear me. I could do this. I could do this move. Or I can come in a little bit more close and, really talk to you. Yaml asks, if you could play one last gig in your lifetime with any of your previous bands in any venue of your choosing, fully sold out, where would it be and why? Ooh, starting off deep. It would certainly be with Dragged Under, because the music is just so damn good and fun to play. As far as venues that I could play, for me, it would have to be Hellfest in France, probably. I've talked about it on the channel before. Thank God that was videotaped when we played. For me, I always liked the smaller shows, not like the super small shows, but I liked, the House of Blues Anaheim. That was always very memorable for me personally. Or Brixton Academy in London. Those two shows, for some reason, stick out. Gramercy Theater in New York is another one, which would be unbelievable. If I had to choose one, I don't know, man. I would probably choose Brixton. It was just a really, really great venue and a good vibe, and I liked how it sounded in there. It was super cool. Jay asks, two-part question, if that's okay. It's all right, Jay. Biggest, most common mistake you hear new producers make on their mixes, and what's your favorite recorded guitar tone ever? Mistakes that producers make on their mixes. I see, okay, so this is what I've learned and am learning. I'm always learning. But it literally took me like a decade to figure out proper gain staging. And to stop doing stuff just because you think you're supposed to. And that is such a hard mindset when you're coming from a learning environment and you're watching people, whether it's, Nail the Mix with the Masters, Pro Mix Academy. You're watching these other people that are just making decisions based on what they are hearing, right? And we are just a fly on the wall watching and kind of trying to glean any information we can off of that. However, back in the day, the second Nolly did anything, everyone else would go, oh, well, that's what I'm doing now too, because Nolly did it. And it was like, yeah, but does your mix actually need that? Does it need that mid-range dip on the two-bus? Do you need to be doing top-down mixing? Have you tried it any other way to make yourself uncomfortable? Being uncomfortable is what's going to make you make good decisions going forward and to really learn how to evaluate what something needs. But, in this industry, success breeds validity and, he's done some cool stuff, so he knows what he's talking about, and that's what I'm going to do. Like, literally mixing, no one will tell you. Mixing is hearing something going, let's see if I like this. Nope, don't like that. Ooh, I like this. Great, I like it. Moving on. That's all mixing is. It's such a subjective, personal thing. Anyway, too many producers aren't actually being objective with their mixes and not gain staging. Favorite recorded guitar tone ever? It's gonna be a tie. Sorry, but it is. AC/DC's Back in Black. Fight me on that one. I don't think anyone would though. Alice in Chains' Dirt. I've long said it's like my favorite guitar tone ever. That is my favorite guitar tone. And it's no one amp. But yeah, I don't know. AC/DC's Back in Black is pretty perfect. Obviously, wildly different genre, but yeah, those would be my two picks for perfect guitar tones. Braden asks, for being such a big Recto fan, I don't know if I've ever seen you cover the Roadster. Curious why. Thanks, Fluff. You don't see them up here too often, or you didn't. You didn't for a long time. Like the Roadster was like the much more expensive optioned out amp. And for me, I always just kind of gravitated towards the regular rectifiers that I was more familiar with. However, now that, you know, some time has passed, you know, the Roadster is one of the great rectifiers. And I think it does certainly have its fan base, but I think it's kind of an underdog in the rectifier lineage. It was absolutely a little darker, a little bit more, I don't know. It was a much more versatile rectifier than I think it got credit for. You know, the clean channels from the Lone Star and things like that. So I just think it was a really great amp. I have never owned one. I have played a bunch of them. My friend Dave gigs with one still to this day in Phantom Racer. Shout out Dave. And I should probably look into getting one at some point for at least a video or two once I get back into, you know, Mesa stuff. Josh asks, hey Fluff, given what you went through with Mesa Boogie, I was wondering what your thoughts are on whether or not you can separate your feelings on a particular piece of gear from the manufacturer. Josh, great question. I think it becomes tough sometimes because we love to think of ourselves as being like, you know, we are just going to judge this instrument by itself. But, you know, if suddenly, if any company, if you hear or see a company CEO or anyone representing the company that makes that great thing that you love being a shithead, it does make it difficult psychologically, right? Because we want the entire food chain to be awesome and tip top. But, you know, that's not really the case. Much like, I love that movie and I loved that guy's acting, but he's a crazy person in real life, so I don't really watch his movies anymore. It's like, well, but what if it's a great movie? So can that movie stand on its own, you know, irrespective of what that actor does in his personal life? For just as an example. So for me personally, it's been really difficult because Mesa Boogie and Gibson are not people, right? Those are companies that are run by people. And I had relationships with some of those people that ran the company, but the company inherently is not a living, breathing thing. So in order to be like emotional about a company sounds weird, but really if you tie it to a nostalgic thing and a bunch of history that you have for yourself, like for me personally, you know, a lot of my life has been spent playing Mesa Boogie stuff. And so I am trying to make peace with that, as dramatic and as stupid as that sounds. Like I love the rectifiers and I want one in the shelf, but it feels like I am, even though it was made 30 years ago, it feels like I'm supporting the current administration. And I don't want to do that, if that makes sense, which has nothing to do with the amp that was made 30 years ago by the people that I do love. So I don't know, it's difficult, but I think everyone's different as far as that goes. Alex asks, what was the context of that picture of you holding the Arm the Homeless guitars? Did you get to play it at all? Alex, thank you so much for your question. So the context was, I was asked by Tom Morello's management. His manager is a lovely, lovely lady, to be one of the guest instructors at his guitar camp that he had right before NAMM in January 2020. We had no idea what was coming. So I've talked about it before, mostly privately. I don't think I've ever really publicly spoke about this, but the people that were running the guitar camp were incredible. Shout out to Doug Doppler, who helped me, suggested me for that gig. Tom's people were amazing. I found Tom to be rude and abrasive. And, you know, I was asked several times, who are you? Who are you again? What do you do? And, you know, I'd post a video of Nuno warming up, and like he would have his people ask me to take the video down because he wasn't wearing stage clothes and all that complete BS. But anyway, Tom's tech, I forget his name. He was so cool and so awesome. He saw me walking by and he goes, oh, dude, Fluff, I love your stuff. And I was like, oh, dude, thank you so much. He goes, do you want to check out a guitar? And I was like, are you pointing to Tom's guitars? And he was like, yeah, check it out. And so I grabbed the Arm the Homeless guitar And I sat there and strummed it. And, you know, I didn't go on stage and plug it into an amp or anything. But, like, you know, when you get to sit there on the chair and just kind of acoustically strum it and play with it a little bit, it felt like a really beat up 40-year-old guitar. The action was very low. It was set up very, very well. It was very beat up and felt like a very gigged. I don't know. I don't even know what it would feel like. It felt like a very gigged Schecter, if that makes any sense at all. Because it's, you know, it's a parts guitar from 40 years ago. It felt like that. The fretwork was impeccable, of course. But everything was like really beat up, and like, you know, the bolts were rusty, screws were heads were rusty, and like, yeah. But it was the guitar. It was very acoustically loud, and it was cool. It was very responsive. But yeah, that's the context for this photo. Barry asks, have you been watching any of Randall Smith's new YouTube channel? Barry, yes, I have. Watching Randall's videos, like watching my grandpa talk. And I love that. Randy is sharp as a tack, and he has so many stories that, yeah, how can you not just, whatever he wants to talk about. If he wants to read me recipes, that's fine too. But yeah, I have seen the channel, and it's awesome. I am a subscriber. Sean asks, given that you just mixed a song for Gigi Gold, who's another artist outside of the norm that you'd like to work and mix a song or album for? Sean, great question. So Gigi Gold just released a cover of Somebody to Love. I will link down below in the description if you'd like to go and check it out. Very Tom Petty Americana thing. It was so much fun to mix, because that's not normally what I do, but I'm very intimate with that kind of music, and I love that kind of music, and I listen to that kind of music. So it was just so much fun to do. Play with reverbs and, you know, not crushing guitar tones, but real laid back kind of Fender Tweed tones was wonderful. She's a wonderful singer as well. An artist, song or album for, I don't know. I would love to do something, maybe not in the pop world, like not like full on like Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, because I just don't think I'm well suited for that. I wish I could do something by, you know, someone who's out now. The Mike Campbell solo stuff would be unbelievable. Anything from, Dashboard Confessional, or, I mean, they're not metal or anything, but they're still big rock stuff is really what interests me, right? So like Story of the Year would be an incredible gig to get. But yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, would love to do like some Tom Petty stuff or something like that, right? Anything in that vein. But you know, I love doing it all. Zach asks, favorite video game or games of the last 10 years? Oof. I've been playing a lot of Black Ops 6 or Call of Duty 6, excuse me, lately. The Terminator skin and the TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, that's my vibe. I love the new Black Ops. Historically, some of my favorite games of all time were the first two Max Payne video games. I also loved Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill on PS1. So back when my daughter was born, I was pretty close to destitute. I was so broke. And I had an old used PlayStation 1 that was gifted to me by a family friend. And I found Silent Hill. So this was back when the PS2 was going to come out. So like at the time, PS1 was kind of, that's the old thing. Let's go get the new thing, right? So I got a PS1, and I had the original Silent Hill. And I used to turn out all the lights in my apartment, my little tiny apartment, and I used to scare the hell out of myself playing Silent Hill. I loved that game. I think I played Silent Hill 2 as well. I remember both those games just being really, really incredible. Super Mario 3 is probably my favorite video game of all time, tied with Super Mario World. I was a big Mario nerd. I've often thought about getting a Mario related sleeve on my arm. I just love the Mario stuff. I was a Nintendo kid growing up. What else? Max Payne. Oh, Halo, of course, the shooters. All the shooters are really good, but the original Halo really left a mark for me as well. But yeah, Silent Hill, Max Payne, Halo, the original Call of Duty Black Ops, and the current Black Ops. I'm playing a lot of Black Ops lately. Justin asks, dream band to work in the studio with? Ever? Okay, let's limit it to right now. Oof. Honestly, I would love to work with, I don't know, my buddies in Beartooth, Spirit Box, or The Used, or Pierce the Veil. I don't know, there's a lot of bands that I feel like are just killer, that I'm such fans of, and I'm lucky enough to call them friends. Senses Fail would be a lot of fun, I feel like. It's because I love the music as well. Shout out to my Senses Fail homies. But yeah, Senses Fail, Beartooth, The Used, Pierce the Veil, Spirit Box, you know, small upstart bands. Ryan asks, Fluff, just wondering, how you doing, man? Like overall? Well, thank you, Ryan. From one, Ryan's checking up on each other. I'm doing all right. I find the events in the world to be emotionally taxing, and I'm not getting political at all, but I think it's historically not a great time for the world in this timeline right now. And I think a lot of things could be fixed, and I think I try not to just be bummed out. And I'm trying to actively unplug as well. I'm trying to just consume less news and less social media, and I am trying to be more creative and just sit in front of my computer with my guitars. I am so thankful in all the chaos in the world, I can just unplug and turn on an amp and grab a guitar and just be creative if I feel like it. And that's been a huge blessing. It's also difficult on a personal note to be a dad of a young person who, you know, I feel like a lot of young people are literally going, what in the hell is going on? And I'm not talking about just the United States. I'm talking about like worldwide, like, and I feel bad. It bums me out. But, you know, someone always has it worse than you do. And I try to keep in mind that I have been blessed and fortunate, and I try to help wherever and whenever I can to those that are less fortunate. And we just got to keep on keeping on. Tyler asks, what's your favorite passive pickups? There's a couple. I'm a Seymour Duncan guy. However, I will name some non-Seymour Duncan passives. I love the Seymour Duncan JB. I love the Black Winter. I love the PRS metal pickup. Honestly, that pickup slaps. I love the bare knuckle Aftermath. I love the DiMarzio Super Distortion. I love, what else do I love? I love the USA Sinister Gates Schecter pickup. The Schecter Pasadena pickups are great as well. I also love the Seymour Duncan Saturday Night Specials. There's a bunch of passives for you. And last but not least, Jordan asks the real question, waffles or pancakes? You know, traditionally speaking, I am a waffle guy. However, I feel like waffles are just pancakes with abs. So they're kind of on equal footing for me. Blueberry pancake, pretty tough to beat unless you're talking about a blueberry waffle or strawberry waffle, whipped cream on it, brother. You could literally have a trap set up, you know, Scooby-Doo style, and put a waffle with whipped cream and strawberries on it, and I will go into that trap. I won't even care. Get into the van. We have strawberry waffles. Yeah, okay, great. I'm in. That's how you get me. Strawberry waffles. Be right back. I'm gonna go eat breakfast at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that does it for this episode of FAQ Mondays. If you have a question, leave them down below in the comments. Maybe we'll make it on a future episode. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.